Mate, did we watch a thing this week?
Yeah, we did. Hello and thanks for joining us, everyone. This is We Watched a Thing. I'm Topher.
I'm Billy.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's been good. How you going?
About the usual.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be good. We're back to our classics. Shut up. Last time we did Shawshank, and this time was my choice. So what did I make you watch?
You made me watch 1998's Sphere.
Yes, I did. Look, not a movie for everyone. Not a movie for everyone. I feel like it's one of those movies that's kind of too smart for the average viewer, and if you don't get it... No, look, I mean, I'll always love this movie. Like, it's just, like, it was a time and a place. The whole point of these throwbacks isn't for us to do a classic. It's for us to do something that we love and the other person hasn't seen. And in this case, it's not always going to be, you know, you choose a great movie, I choose a dud, which I guess traditionally that's how it's looked. But, I mean, yeah, it's just a movie that I genuinely treasure. Like, I read the book of Sphere when I was 8, and it was kind of the first, like, big-ass novel that I read, and I loved that book. I read it, like, back-to-back over and over and over. And so when the film came out, that was the first time I was able to see an adaptation of a book that I loved. You know, I was 10 when the movie came out, and it was the first time. So I was always going to love it, even though it's a terrible adaptation. It's like, it does a shit job of adapting a great book. But like, to 10-year-old Billy, I was like, this is awesome. I'm seeing this on a big screen. Like, that's me.
I unfortunately came at it with a bit of baggage because I'd clicked on it on IMDb to check something or other and saw its critic score, which is 35.
Well, so 35 on Metacritic and 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, what was it? I didn't quite hear that.
12%.
12%.
Look, but I know what you thought of it already, because apparently you're colluding with my wife.
Well, your wife and I have a lot in common. We both like you.
Yeah.
We don't mind a cheeky whiskey.
Yeah.
And we both think Sphere is a turd of a film.
Yeah, so, I mean, she didn't dob you in. She was in the shower the other day, her phone being, and I'm like, the fuck is Topher messaging me about? Let me read to you verbatim the message. Okay, so what the fuck, Billy? I can't believe he made me watch Sphere. It was so bad. Liking it is bad enough. Advertising your love for that turd just beggars belief. I'm just at a total loss. Then she wrote back, yep, I tried to warn you. Great book, god-awful movie. And you responded again, baffling. I'll try and go easy when we talk about it, but yikes.
Well, I'm no longer going to go easy on it. You spying on your wife has done away with that, my friend. Would you like to talk about the film? Yeah,
let's do it. All right. So Sphere, directed by Barry Levinson and written by Kurt Wimmer, based on the novel by Michael Crichton. It stars Dustin Hoffman, Samuel L. Jackson, Sharon Stone, Queen Latifah, and Liev Schreiber. And what's it about?
I don't know.
Did you even watch it?
So Dustin Hoffman gets a call to go and help investigate what he thinks is a downed aircraft.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there's a super spook there. We can tell he's a super spook because he's got dark glasses, so he's clearly a shady character.
Yeah.
And Dustin Hoffman and the other characters find out that there's what they think is an alien spacecraft buried in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Under a huge amount of coral.
Under 8 meters of coral.
Yeah, and coral grows, like 3 inches a year or something?
Yes.
So it's an old ass.
Sharon Stone tells us that you can set your watch to it.
Yes, she does. In one of her finest performances.
So the character introduction in this film, it's like, it's not as lazy as Suicide Squad because they don't actually bring their names and abilities up on screen in text, but it's not far off.
No, you're not comparing.
It's not far off. Like, they actually spell out their names and what they do. Like, they just have someone say it while focus on the camera switches between the characters.
No, but that makes sense because they're being introduced to each other.
Yeah, it's
So the
really
spook is
subtle
like, you know,
filmmaking.
this is Norman. He's a psychologist.
They all know each other.
Well,
They don't even need to be introduced. They're just doing it for the audience.
no.
Yes.
Eat all of the dicks.
True or false? Those 4 characters know each other.
Yeah, those 4 know each other. So in the book, there's actually a 5th.
Ooh.
There's a 5th who... So Beth is a zoologist in the book, not a marine biologist. Then there's this bloke who's a marine biologist. He goes down after like 30 seconds, gets scared, and goes back up. So I guess that's why they cut him.
Compelling storyline.
Be a lot of extra time.
I'm out. I know where this movie's going. I wish I'd followed his lead, quite frankly.
Piss off. I mean, so the book is really well written. Like Michael Crichton is a great writer. Have you read any of his stuff?
The only Michael Crichton I've read is back in the day when I read Jurassic Park and the Lost World.
He does really well with blending science with fiction. Like as far as science fiction goes, he leans much more towards the science side of things because he's a doctor in real life. He also created a ER. And to top that all off, he invented the small penis defense.
The what?
All right, so he was in a disagreement with this journalist who slagged off one of his books. So in his next book, he wrote a character with the same name who was a child rapist and an all-right bad bloke with a small penis, which stopped this guy from suing him because he didn't want to admit he had a small penis.
But why would anyone assume that he actually did in real life just because Crichton was trying to make him seem like a dick? Well, this is the thing. In a court of law, for a fictional portrait to be actionable, it must be so accurate that a reader of the book would have no problem linking the two. Thus, libel lawyers have what is known as the small penis rule. One way authors can protect themselves is to say that a character has a small penis, because no male will come forward and say, yes, that character with a very small penis, that's me. That's really petty, Michael Crichton. So after all the characters are met and the audience has been introduced to them, we head down under the water.
We do.
And it's a good thing there's a psychologist there to just explain what everyone's feeling rather than the filmmaker having to show that to us. That's a plus.
Why are you slagging this off so hard already? We're not even into the movie proper yet.
Yeah.
They're just going down into the ocean.
All right, so we'll carry us forward, Billy.
No, you take it. You seem to...
All right, so then they find the ship and they go into it.
And how cool is that whole sequence? How great is the score in this film?
When I was watching it, I was like, wow, it's I don't know what it is. I'm not a musician. I don't know what it is about a score that sounds really 90s. But there is no other decade, and I don't mean this is a good or bad thing.
Yeah, I said the same thing about A Few Good Men.
That's what I thought of. Yeah. I was like, there's no other decade this score could come out of. It is a 90s score.
But it's a great score, though.
Sure. I don't dislike the score. Let me say that. There you go. So they go in a spaceship and they find this big sphere.
Yeah.
And Liev Schreiber's like, I bet that's a perfect sphere. And I'm looking at it going, it's bumpier than a golf ball.
Well, no, the surface
clearly not a perfect sphere.
You're missing the point.
If it's bumpier than a golf ball,
the surface,
not a perfect sphere.
The surface of it is bumpy.
Yeah.
But not the shape.
Doesn't matter.
Such minuscule bumps.
Doesn't matter.
Also, is it actually bumpy or is that just the way it reflects?
It's bumpy.
Mate,
you can see the light. You can see there's little shadows. I mean, this is pretty early doors for these kind of visual effects, but they have gone to the trouble of putting shadows where those little bumps are.
But you must admit that on the whole, the visuals hold up pretty good. It's a fairly nicely shot movie. Like, it looks good. The visuals are good. Like the jellyfish.
The jellyfish sequence is not bad.
Yeah, like the visuals in this film are pretty good. The only one that stood out for me as being really like, oh, this is kind of shit and dated, is that scene where Norman and Beth, Dustin Hoffman and Sharon Stone, stumble across the logs and they're looking at the black hole. That looks pretty shit. But apart from that, I thought it held up pretty well.
Did Samuel L. Jackson have like a rider in the 90s that there had to be a cyclone? I mean, okay, only 2 movies, but...
He's great in this movie too, though. And you see his butt.
Yeah. That was weird.
That was a weird scene. And Dustin Hoffman's just there, just pretending Samuel L. Jackson's not completely naked.
Yeah, he's just unfussed.
Yeah.
So they have the coolest scene in the movie, as far as I'm concerned, is Samuel L. Jackson and Dustin Hoffman, where Sam Jackson's character, Adams,
Henry Adams, yeah.
Henry Adams, tells Norman.
Harry Adams.
Harry Adams. He tells Norman that, well, there's no way we get out of here alive.
That's the shower scene. That's when he's butt naked.
No. He's in bed at that point.
Yeah, he's just gotten dressed.
Yeah.
It's the same scene.
Not in the shower.
Yeah.
That should be a really cool scene. Somehow they make it really boring.
No
but
way.
It should be a really cool moment.
No way. That is a cool moment. He's like, we all die down here.
You sound like a hick. Hey, Norman. We gonna die down here.
They say people gonna die.
Would you like to take us further into the world of Sphere? I mean, I assure you I've got more.
So in that scene, Harry also tells Norman that he thinks that the Sphere is alive. It's a living entity. Mm-hmm. And again, that's really cool. You didn't think that was cool?
I don't care about it one way or the other. There's nothing that's happened in this film to make me care about anything. So I was like, all right.
You're really starting to make me think this was a bad movie to choose. All right, so Harry goes inside the Sphere, which again is really cool.
It's a terrible bit of visual effects. He's got this dumb smile on him.
Yeah, because he's going inside. He's happy. He's happy, mate.
Ridiculous.
And so while he's going inside, there's a cyclone up top, which prevents them from going back to the surface.
Also, I think some dinosaurs get out. So now we get to, once Sam Jackson's gone into the Sphere, we get into...
to the meat of the story.
The meat of the story.
Yeah.
Because stuff goes south.
Yeah. So we've already established, too, by this point, that it's not an alien spaceship. Did you not find this bit interesting? When they discover that it's got English writing all over it and they find the date?
Probably the best bit of the film.
Like, that's cool stuff. And you're going, oh, hold on.
Because as soon as you get in there, you're like, well, this looks like it was designed for people.
Yeah. And then they find the date and it's like, what, 48 or something? And they're like, well, is that like 16,
I tell you what, I had a little... They're like, oh, is it 2014? I was like, 2043.
Yeah.
I was like, probably not. Try 2543. Like, you honestly think that in 50 years we got to this point?
I think all they're saying is that they don't know what's more confusing, whether it's from the future or from the past. But whether it's 2043 or 2543 doesn't make a difference. It's still in the future.
It's stupid for suggesting it could have happened in 45 years' time.
Mate, it's still in the future, you nitpicking ninny.
Stupid. So once Adams is back onto their little submarine thingy.
Yeah, we get some even cooler
and conscious again.
Yeah.
Bad things start happening to both the submarine and the crew.
Yeah. Queen Latifah gets murdered by some ravenous jellyfish.
She gets heaps murdered.
Yeah. Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, it's probably one of the better scenes.
Yeah, and then we get the giant squid.
Yeah, that's an underwhelming sequence.
Oh, come on, mate. What is underwhelming about that?
Because what's terrible about this whole slab of the film is that, it's trying to be a kind of... There's the popcorn monster side of it, but it's also like it's trying to deal in some way with the nature of fear. And yet there's zero tension in any of these sequences at all.
Are you kidding?
Like, just none.
You're kidding.
Not at all.
The film is so tense.
Not remote. I'm the one that doesn't like scary movies.
You see, here's the problem, is that they've adapted it into a horror movie when the book isn't a horror. The book is...
no, it's not a horror movie.
The book is
I'm telling you, it's not scary at all. Okay. There are things about this film that are scary.
Yeah, I knew you'd say that. So predictable. So
classic
predictable.
Me. All right, so tell us what you like about this part of the film.
I mean, okay. Again, I was 10, so let's just.
You're not now.
No,
I said to you on the weekend, "Have you watched it again? And did you like it?"
Yeah, and I said probably about 6 months ago.
You were very positive about it still. You weren't like, yeah, I watched it 6 months ago. It doesn't really hold up. That's not what you said.
Well, no, but I mean, when you have a love for a film that is deeper than the movie itself.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
And so it sticks around.
The last time I watched Neverending Story, I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have come back to this.
Yeah, we've spoken about Neverending Story once before.
And I'm okay, being like, okay, you know what? I loved it as a kid. Never watching it again because bad.
I guess the thing for me is, though, the love still stays alive because, like I said, I still love the book. Like, I listened to the audiobook again recently. Same great experience as when I was a kid. whether or not the movie does a good job, I just love the idea behind it. I love the story. I'm into it. I know that it's not. I knew you were going to shit on this, but I have to be honest, because that's what this show is. We're not giving our honest opinions. Why are we here talking into a mic?
I don't think it's that deep. So the entity Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This bit was cool, at least, when they're talking to Jerry on the computer.
Jerry is like a 3-year-old having a tantrum.
Yes, that's what's great about this movie and the book. It's scary enough to come into contact with an alien being, and you don't know how intelligent he is. Is he like a 3-year-old, or is he trying to dumb down his language? And then even scarier than that, as stated by Dustin Hoffman, I would prefer he had no emotions at all, because if this is him happy, what is he going to be like when he's not happy? And that's
it's some really subtle foreshadowing there from Dustin.
But that's what this movie is. It's that, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I like it.
What's the deal with all the was this an early thing of product placement? Did Colgate help pay for this film? Because this film is sick for dental hygiene. Like, twice we get Dustin Hoffman flossing.
Well, I mean, you want to keep your hygiene.
That's not something we need to see on screen.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to keep fresh. You don't want to be spending the movie thinking, "Oh no, mate, your breath stinks."
Okay, so in every other film that doesn't have flossing, which is every other film, do you often think, "I wonder what that character's breath is like"? I haven't seen him floss. It's probably bad.
You know, I mean, I can't say that I have thought
It's
that.
weird. It's weird.
Well, I mean, they might have needed product placement because it didn't do very well at the box office, so they need all the cash they can get. So it was $80 million budget, and I think they made
in '98.
Yeah, and they made back about 50. Just a cool 50.
Just a lazy 50 mil.
Yeah. Okay, so the one thing that I didn't really love is the whole 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea thing. When the book just keeps popping up because that's what Samuel L. Jackson was reading. So it eventually becomes apparent to us that there is no Jerry. It is, in fact, Harry. And they misinterpreted the name Harry as Jerry, probably because Harry was the one doing the interpretation.
Yes, he was
trying to hide
tracks.
it. That's pretty cool that we realised that, you know, he's making these things happen because he went in the sphere.
Because it hadn't been obvious at that point, given we keep cutting to him in, like, REM sleep when monsters appear.
Yeah, by that point we know.
Real subtle, Sphere.
Yeah, I didn't love that sequence with the books just appearing everywhere. That's something that doesn't happen in the novel, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. So by the end of the film, we're left with only 3. The annoying guy is dead, and we're left with Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, and Samuel L. Jackson. And it becomes almost like an underwater version of The Thing, where they're each trying to find out, you know, who the culprit is and what's going on. And, you know, there's a lot of tension. They're knocking each other out. Did you not find any action or suspense in that sequence?
No. I would have had to care. I would have needed some level of investment in these people or the film.
Yeah, so is it the plot or the characters you don't care about?
If I had to pick, I suppose the characters, because the plot... Well, I haven't read the book. But both you and your wife are big fans of it. And watching it, I was like, I can certainly imagine that you could make a good movie out of this.
Yeah. I
suppose my grievances aren't so much with the plot.
Yeah.
It's both the execution and the characters.
So I am a rarity. Like, I mean, some of this film's biggest haters are fans of the book because it isn't a great adaptation.
So they accuse each other, they accuse each other, they accuse each other.
Yeah.
That doesn't get us very far.
No, but it's about the tension that's building then.
Yeah, if there was tension building, that'd be good. Like the whole thing, like, you know, Sharon Stone locking up Dustin Hoffman. Like, it's another one of these sequences in these films where, like, for me, there's just no tension to it at all. It's like a scene from a Final Destination film, but with the fun taken out.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying that you can see how, though, it could have been good.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't argue with that.
You got anything else before we get to the climax?
No, let's get to the climax.
So then the film gets to the end.
Yeah.
And they're like...
They make it to the surface.
They're like, the trouble with this is that we have it in us to conjure all these horrors.
Yeah, so eventually they realize that all three of them have been into the sphere and have the abilities.
And so they need a way to no longer conjure these
This
things.
is not a great ending.
And their solution is to hold hands in a circle and just forget.
Yeah, because they have the power.
Because that's a thing.
Well, no, because they have the power to create not only monsters and everything, but to create anything, to basically alter reality. So if they all simultaneously use that power to alter reality so that they don't have the power anymore and it never happened, they can do that.
Not a thing.
Well, okay, all right. We recently saw Infinity War. Same thing.
They didn't just choose to forget Thanos.
No, Thanos chose to forget half the world.
I don't think he forgot them.
Well, no, same reality-altering power, though.
No, it's not. He had a glove.
So if they'd all huddled together and clicked their fingers,
the only thing missing from this film is a bejeweled glove. Then it would all make sense, and I'd be on board.
So if Samuel L. Jackson walked into the sphere, walked out with one glove on like Michael Jackson, you'd be all right.
I'd be on board.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the ending, that final scene does have a bit that I like, because it's the first time that I genuinely connect with the characters
when they're trapped in.
Once they're back on the ship on the surface.
And they're in the D whatever chamber.
But they've forgotten.
Yeah,
and one of them says it's over, and I was like, oh, thank fuck,
you dickhead.
So I'll give the film that moment.
You dickhead. Yeah, look, so the novel handles it differently. It's similar, but you don't have this stupid moment with the sphere rising out of the water and up into the sky, which makes no sense.
Not one of my real nitpicks about this film, like on the list of...
Well, you don't have that silly moment. And there's also this little kind of cliffhanger at the end of the novel where it's like, did Beth really forget? Did she actually give up the power, or is she just pretending for these blokes and she's going to go home and snap her fingers Thanos style? Yeah. So but I think
that's not in the movie.
Well, they knew this wasn't going to be worthy of a sequel, so why include it?
Closing thoughts, Billy?
Oh, look, closing thoughts. Look, I knew what this episode was going to be. I knew you were going to shit on me, but like I said, that's what these kind of throwbacks are about, introducing something we love to the other person, whether or not they love it. I'm glad I made you watch it. I'm glad you watched Sinbad. You made me watch fucking Casablanca, and that's an hour and a half of black and white.
I can't argue with that. That's factual.
I mean, you made me watch Die Hard, which is arguably only the second best Christmas-based action movie.
You're right.
Because Reindeer Games is out there.
I need to look at myself in the mirror and have a think about what I'm bringing to this relationship.
You do. You really do.
So I have written here, the film is either a tedious, poorly written waste of talent, or it's a quite brilliant exploration of the movement of time and just how long 130 minutes can feel.
Yeah, look, I will say, when I popped the movie on today, I'd forgotten it was that long. It was like, 2 hours 20. Pretty long stuff.
Yeah, really long. Yeah. Like, it's not a good sign when you're watching a film and you keep looking at the counter. Be like, oh my god, there's that long
I only
left.
Watched half of it today. Not because I wasn't super into it. I totally was, but I left at the last minute to rewatch it, and I ran out of time. And I was like, I know this movie well enough. I don't need to rewatch this.
And of course, I also thought about the time that you recommended this movie on another podcast we were on.
Yeah, I did. In fact, I got a note about that. So
I emailed Charlie during the week.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I did.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, a while ago we were on the Cinematic Respect podcast talking about Solaris. Now, Roger Ebert said of Sphere, this movie is a watered-down version of Tarkovsky's Solaris. Now, you and I both watched that. This movie's way better.
How can you even say that with a straight face?
I recommended this on Cinematic Respect, and I stand by that recommendation. Solaris, it's too long. It's too, lingering. It's too all this other crap. Sphere is just a good, rockin', fun ride. Queen Latifah gets eaten by jellyfish. Where else can you see Queen Latifah get eaten by jellyfish?
She doesn't get eaten by jellyfish. She gets stung by jellyfish. They don't eat her.
No, but she gets pretty munged up. Like, she comes out of it pretty munted. Like, that's fun. It's like Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, Deep Blue Sea's great.
Yeah, it was almost as good as this. In fact, I meant to tell you, Deep Blue Sea 2 came out the other week.
Did it?
Yeah.
Straight to video style?
Straight to video, yeah. And also,
I would like to see that.
Also, Tremors 6 is finally out.
Right.
We should get on that at some point.
I still haven't got to Sharknado 3.
Oh, mate. Have you seen Lava Lantula?
No.
That's some great
stuff. But I like the sound of it.
So, you've heard our thoughts. You know that realistically, neither of us is going to recommend this movie. I made Topher watch it, but I know that what I love about this movie is nostalgia.
And you just wanted to put me through it.
I just wanted to put you through it.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same when I make you watch Reindeer Games at some point.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Deep down,
I'm going to insist that your wife sits in on that. I'm not doing it alone.
Deep down, I know it's not a good movie, but doesn't mean it's not a bunch of fun to watch with you. So let me guess, you're giving this a 2.
2.
Yeah.
Well done.
I thought so.
2 out of 10 for Sphere.
Yeah. Similar to Sinbad, I'm not going to bother giving this a rating.
What would you rate it?
Can't be harsh on it. Can't,
Give it a rating.
If I have to rate it, I'll give it a 5.
So your recommended you need to see this film is middling at best.
What did you make me watch?
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Oh, mate. Well, last time you made me watch the number 1, IMDb movie. I had to bring us back to reality a little.
Yeah, and we have crashed back to earth.
I mean, do you have any thoughts on what you'll make me watch next time we do a classic?
No, I haven't really thought about it yet. It's going to be vengeful, though.
Oh, is it? Really?
No, I don't mean it's going to be a film about vengeance. I mean...
No, that's what I mean. You mean that you'll go for something shit just to pay me back for this?
I might.
Yeah?
I just might.
We might finally see you pick something that's not, renowned.
Yeah. I'll reach into my bag of crap, see what I can pull out.
It's got to be something you genuinely treasure, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these.
Yeah.
Even if you know it's crap, it's got to be something you love. All right, so what are we getting to next week?
Next week, we're gearing up for the long overdue sequel to The Incredibles. How have we had 3 Cars movies in the time that there hasn't been another Incredibles? What is that about?
Yeah, I know. I didn't even think that the first Cars was that popular, was it?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any of them.
Certainly people weren't a fan of the second one.
Yeah, so they're like, well, let's just try again. But yeah, I mean, The Incredibles is so good.
It's Pixar's best.
I agree.
I'm calling it Pixar's best. I mean, Disney have really, really gone into the sequels, like Finding Dory we had. They were already talking of Frozen 2.
And yet no John Carter 2.
Gives me the fucking shits.
I know it does.
One of the greatest movies of... I mean, if you hadn't already seen it, I'd make us do that.
I know.
Classic.
I know full well it would be on the list.
Yeah, we should get Beth in at some point and make her watch it.
Actually, we should.
Yeah, we really genuinely should.
We should.
Yeah.
That's happening.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, Beth, you're just finding out about it.
Yeah.
It's Tim Riggins. Come on.
Mate, are you sure we're doing Incredibles next week?
It said... No, that's a retro screening of The Incredibles.
You are a dope.
Hey, it said Incredibles.
So we got nothing next week?
Not yet, we don't. Unless...
John Carter. Beth, we need you.
It's happening.
Yeah, all right.
Billy's favorite, the GOAT of movies for Billy.
All right, so that's it. All right, so next week we'll be watching John Carter and Beth will be joining us. So watch John Carter this week if you haven't seen it, because it's literally the best movie ever made. So please get on that. And in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or at wewatchedathing@gmail.com, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at wewatchedathing. Catch us.